Hello plant friends, my name's Alonia and welcome to my channel. I'm a novice orchid grower here in suburban Western Sydney, navigating the wonderful world of orchids. I'm learning to grow these beautiful plants so that they thrive here in my somewhat wacky subtropical climate. And here on my channel, I share what I've learned along the way with all of you. Today, I've got something a little different for you, a friendly orchid showdown. Why? Well, none of the orchid societies that my friend Lynn and I belong to had any growing competitions that we could join. So we decided, why not make our own? Just two orchid-loving friends sharing a bit of friendly rivalry with 4 Rhyncovanda colmarie seedlings between us, all ready to go. We both started this adventure with one seedling each that we purchased from the Orchid Place in Heathcote. I do have a video about that visit, so I'll link it here for you. A couple of weeks later, Lynn went ahead and bought 2 more plants online, and she kindly gifted me one. So now it's 2 plants each, because why not raise the stakes and double the responsibility? But then it is also double the bragging rights. Now here's where it gets interesting. Lynn and I are growing our Rhyncovandas in totally different conditions. I'm located in Western Sydney in an apartment with a north-facing balcony, and she is in a house with a beautiful backyard. It has loads of tree cover, but her sunlight conditions are vastly different to mine. Her environment has a very different vibe. Her house is east-facing with a westerly oriented backyard, so she has a totally different set of challenges to mine. Now, I've repotted one of mine to hopefully suit both my plant and my growing space. This is in an 80mm basket with 100% perlite, and it gets plenty of light in my bathroom. The one Lynn gave me is still chilling in its 50mm pot that it came in, sitting on stones like it's on some sort of spa vacation. I will repot this in the spring when the roots growing tips start to brighten up and become active. As it is midwinter right now, it is too cold, so I would shock the poor thing, but it's still looking great. I'm also growing these in my easterly facing bathroom over the winter months, and these plants do like bright light, so I have placed them opposite to the window on the brighter side of the rack. They are side by side, which makes them easy to look after them together. Because I'm fairly lazy, I prefer to keep all the plants that like similar care together. Now on to Lynn's plants. Both of hers have been replanted into the same 80mm pots that I'm using because I had some spares, so I gave her some for this particular purpose. She has used a more traditional mix of 1 part medium bark, 1 part clay balls, 1 part charcoal, and 1 part perlite, with both of her plants being potted into the same mix. She's also currently moving her plants around to ensure they get enough light and warmth in her environment. When it is warm and sunny, she sets them hanging outside in her yard, where she has set up a covered hanging space with a translucent polycarbonate roof. As it is rather cold right now for Sydney, and it's also quite wet, she's also moved most of her collection into her dining room table for protection from the cold. We're keeping it casual, but we are tracking everything that we're doing. So growth measurements of the leaves and the roots, the new growths as they appear, monitoring the overall health, and eventually who gets the flower spike first. As you can see from my growing competition spreadsheet, I have set up a chart because we bought these in autumn. Nothing's been entered yet, and they look much the same as they did when we bought them. Of course, we're also not above a little friendly trash talk, but it's all in good fun, right, Lynn? I hope her plants are ready, because with my setup, I think my plants are going to flower first. Okay, a little bit about Vandaceous orchids. With all that I've said so far, Vandas are not my favourite. They're right up there with cattleyas. They're nice, but I am not overly keen on them because depending on the variety, they can get massive and take up more space than I have readily available. I do trend to the smaller specimens by preference as such. The only reason I agreed to a Vanda type at all is because the flowers on this particular type are reported to be very deep purple, almost black, and are scented. Because I don't typically grow Vandaceous plants and I'm not overly familiar with them, I had to do a little bit of reading and a lot of crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. To get more information, I did consult 3 books and 2 websites to try and get a handle on the possible care options for this plant, and I'll link them all below. Now, let's have a look at this plant in a little bit more detail. Rhyncovanda is a hybrid word honouring the two-parent plant. Rhynchostylis is a compound word from the Greek, rhynchos referring to the beak-shaped leaves, which to me resembles an ibis beak, and stylos referring to the column, which refers to the monopodial or columnar growth habit of growing from a central tip. The name Vanda, on the other hand, is an ancient Sanskrit word meaning to grow without soil or water, referring to the epiphytic nature and the large aerial root structure that these plants produce. The website orchidroots.com advised that the Rhyncovanda colmarie, sometimes known as a Vandas-level colmarie, is a hybrid between a Rhynchostylis Sri Siam, a hybrid itself registered in 1978, crossed with Rhynchostylis gigantea, a species in the genus which was registered in 1896. This website also tells me what the seed and the pollen parents are. Then I can go back and look up the natural environments for the parent plants, so I also get an idea of the conditions that I need to try and replicate. Orchids.org, on the other hand, provides information about the plant itself and what I could expect to get when my plant does start to flower. Hybrids have a natural variety, much like multiple children coming from the same parents can look vastly different. Brian and Wilma Ritterhausen, in their book Orchids, A Practical Guide for Beginners, which I did borrow from my local library, states that Vandas are a natural genus of up to 80 species, originating from a wide area of the Old World, ranging from India, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, to the Philippines, New Guinea, and into Australia, and notes specifically that they are warm growing. Rhynchostylis are found ranging from the Chinese Himalayas, the Assam province, Bangladesh, Eastern Himalayas, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Western Himalayas, the Andaman Islands, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Borneo, Java, Sumatra, and the Philippines, in semi-deciduous and deciduous dry lowland forests and savanna-like woodlands at elevations from sea level to 1,200 metres. Goodness gracious, that was a lot to remember. J.N Rentoul, in his third volume of his 4-book series of growing orchids, notes that Vandas prefer warmer climates and states that overnight minimum temperatures of 15 degrees Celsius is preferred. So I will keep these plants inside over winter and into mid-spring until the nighttime temperatures climb to 15 degrees or so. Currently, our overnights are hitting the single digit Celsius, so inside they go. He also notes that there is no reasonable upper limit. Even temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius is fine, so I will move these outside in mid to late spring when those temperatures rise so they can enjoy a Western Sydney summer with me. I will also have to monitor them regularly simply because my balcony got to 52 degrees Celsius this February, and it was a mission just to keep everything hydrated, including myself. J.N Rentoul does not specify light requirements, except that direct sun will cause the leaves to burn. So whilst they are currently located opposite the east-facing bathroom window, I am crossing my fingers and hoping that is bright enough for them. I do have the ability to move them to the windowsill if I do need to, and when I move them outside, I will hang them behind me here, where they might capture a few direct sun rays in the morning, but they will be quite protected for the rest of the day. There is an app I got for my phone. I'll link it below. My phone's an Android and it's called Lux, which is a light meter, and I'm still learning how to use it. And I'm also trying to figure out what the optimum light measurements and light requirements for this particular species of plant is. When it comes to watering, Vandas do have a dormant period over winter, including in the tropics, where their roots will appear silver and look quite inactive. Mine do look like this, so I've reduced the watering to the bare minimum, but I am misting the roots every day or two to keep them hydrated. They also like humidity, so while they're in the bathroom, I'm ensuring to use the shower in the main bathroom a few times a week so that they receive plenty of humidity. In summer, cockatoos. In summer, I water daily, morning and night, and sometimes 3 times daily when I can through the hottest part of the year. I also mist in addition to the direct watering to help keep the humidity up. J.N Rentoul also notes that Vandas are opportunistic feeders and will take nutrients from wherever they can. So if the container they're in is absorbent, such as a tree fern mound or a terracotta pot, and the plant is watered with the nutrient being dissolved into solution, the plant can and will absorb it. As mine are in plastic containers, I ensure to water them with a dilute liquid feed as part of the misting routine. I use half to quarter strength fertilizer when I do use a chemical fertilizer such as Pete's CalMag finisher. I planted my first plant into 100% perlite for a reason. Perlite is an absorbent volcanic rock that holds moisture and should absorb nutrients, acting like slow release fertilizer when I water. I probably won't actually add pellet fertilizer to this because that could cause chemical burns and I don't want to risk it. He also notes that it is possible to use a liquid fertilizer sprayed on the inside of a pot to encourage localized growing into that pot. And as I have not repotted my second plant, this could be a potential potting option for me. But this also acts like a mount and requires additional care. And as it's still the middle of winter, I do have some time to consider the options. Well, plant friends, that's an overview of mine and Lynn's growing competition. If you're curious about how different environments can affect orchid growth, or if you just want to see who wins this grow-off, make sure to subscribe and follow along, and make sure the notification bell is turned on so as not to miss out on any updates. If you liked this video or found it useful, please do give it a thumbs up. Also, comment below, who do you think will win? Me with my perlite planting media and north-facing balcony setup, or Lynn with her traditional planting media, polycarb roof, and moving her plants around. For now though, have a great week. May your plants thrive. May the best grower win. And remember, your plants are always going to surprise you. See you all next week, and thanks for watching. Bye.